treats and walks, what type of rabbits we like to chase most, cats and how we hate them, and where we like to poop outside. So we're gonna wait for some people to come into this live so we can talk about cats and treats and where our favorite places to walk are. Just kidding, guys. We're gonna be chilling in here, answering a couple BMW questions. Told you guys I'd go live on Sundays. We're trying to stick with it, so we're gonna be kicking it here for a couple hours. Hopefully some people join in. We can answer some questions, some BMW questions, do a little kind of ask me anything. So hopefully some people jump in here. If you're new, this is my puppy dog, Sage. She's the sweetest girl in the world. She's a little pit lab mix. She's got some Australian cattle dog in her, some Staffy, some American Bulldog, Pit Bull Terrier. Just a little Pit Bull Terrier mix. But I just wanted to start the live off so the VOD would start with this sweet little puppy in the front. But I'm gonna go let her out the door. Hopefully some people join in, some regulars. Bye-bye. What's cracking? Who we got in here? 5 people. Anybody viewers of the channel? Or are these people just swiping through YouTube, finding a live to click on, and they're just like, hey, who is this doinker with the beanie on inside? Good morning from Germany. First, 1:31 a.m. My question, can you build another E46? That was a really good question. I'd love to build another E46. I think they're probably my favorite car to work on. And in my opinion, I feel like they're probably one of the best beginner BMWs to get into. Reliability wise, they're solid. Cost wise, you can get them very cheap. They're relatively easier to work on for the newer mechanic. The intake manifolds can be a little problematic to take apart sometimes. What's up, Chad? What's up, TJ? What's up, Jonathan? Rumpelstiltskin. Great to have you guys in. I'm gonna be doing more content on my $500 manual trans E46. I'm gonna be doing a serpentine belt, full refresh on that this week. I'm waiting for the parts to show up. So that's gonna be one of my long form videos coming up for February. So there will be more E46 content. Ed, shoot, what's your question, dude? We're gonna hang out for like an hour or so, gonna eat some jerky. And I just wanted to answer questions for you guys and come on because I had a really good time going live with you guys last Sunday. And I want to do it again. Try to keep a little bit of a routine. How bad are the LA fires right now? To be honest with you, they're pretty bad. But containment's coming up. I think the Palisades fire, when I checked yesterday, was 48% contained. Now, a fire's not completely wrapped up until they get 100% around it. And that means that they have hand line, and they scratch down to bare mineral soil all the way around the fire perimeter. But, you know, the problem is it takes 3, 4, 5 fire engines to properly put out a structure fire, and there simply just is not enough resources. So I think things are slowing down. I think the winds are starting to settle down a little bit. But as far as like wildfires that are getting into structures and causing a lot of damage, as far as California goes, this has been a big one since we had like the fires up in Paradise, California, quite a few years ago. But hoping for the best. I really wish I could be doing more for the fires, but maybe we'll have an opportunity to do that in the future, you know. Rumpelstiltskin says he's got 2 crank bolt heads stripped. Tried everything except drill and easy out. So you're talking about like the 4 E-torques that go around the metric crank nut in order to get like the actual pulley off of itself. Let's see. One, I would always hammer on. Make sure you can see, like take a small little ball peen hammer and hammer on a socket onto those. If, you know, they have, I might need to go out to my garage to show you, but they make these extractor sockets. Let me look it up on Google. I'll show you on the computer. Have you used that yet? Have you tried like the extractor sockets? The ones that taper down in and they have sort of a spiral extractor cut on the inside. So you've tried that. If it rounded out, I would use the extractor sockets And if that didn't work, I would think about grinding the head off the bolts to get the pulley off and then deal with it, or to try to drill and extract. But it's just tricky business because you got to get down there into the serpentine assembly. So you probably have to use a right-handed drill, or a 90-degree drill, unless you wanted to like take the radiator out to give yourself some more room, which might be a good idea, just so you can get some better room in there. You could try using heat, soak it with some tri-flow, but it's nothing worse than strip bolts, man. Especially E-Torques. Like when they strip, they can be a real pain in the ass. Other than that, pair of vice grips and tighten them up super, super tight. Maybe go that route. Haroon, full-time helper / cameraman, I would love it. If I could figure out a way to have it be cost efficient. Think about taking the front bumper cover off, radiator is out. I don't know if taking the bumper skin off will help you, because you're gonna have your AC condenser is gonna be in the way. Even if you have your radiator out, the AC condenser is gonna be in front of that, and that's still gonna impede your access from getting a straight shot all the way through. It might help though, I'm not sure. It kind of depends on what chassis. But Haroon, I'd love to be able to have a full-time cameraman and helper. I have a full-time editor now, which is great, which is why you guys have seen improved production quality on a lot of my videos. And I've been absolutely ecstatic with that. It's been super nice to work with an editor full-time, and he's just doing a kick-ass job. The only thing is it all costs money. So once I start earning a little bit more, and I get to the next level, start bringing in more brand revenue, then we can upgrade to probably having a full-time helper. And I think that would be great, because if I can just do my thing, if I can just get into the garage and wrench and do my thing, and I don't have to worry about cameras and angles, and somebody else can be working on that the entire time, it would super, super improve work output. But for now, I'm still doing all the camera work. I'm still doing a large portion of the editing, but I am having an editor final polish all my long form content, because I personally think it's nice. Need to find you a sponsor for a 2-post lift. For sure, absolutely. And I'm thinking about potentially just buying one, putting it in the outside. But the problem is I have like 9-foot ceilings in my garage. And so it would need to be like one of those bend pack quick lifts, the ones that only go up 3 feet. Sort of like the one I have now from Vivor. But if it extends up a little bit higher, I'd have a little bit better access. So right now my garage is kind of limiting me, which is a bit of a pain. But we're gonna make do with what we got now. Working outside every time a car would be on a lift would be kind of a pain in the ass. Do you plan to do more BMW videos? Will you do my car? Depends on where you live, Tarlock. I'm up in like the way north of California. Nobody lives by me. I'm out in like the middle of nowhere. Even San Francisco is like 4 hours south. So a lot of the metropolitan areas and a lot of where you guys are, it's just a really long haul. It's a really long drive. It's really difficult to get vehicles out there. So if people lived closer, I'd love to take on their cars, be able to do more. But hey, you're in the Bay Area. All right. So yeah, I'm up north of you, just south of Crescent City and Del Norte County. I'm in Humboldt County. So Sirhan, good to see you, dude. Always good to see that name. All right, Mike says, E46, oil pan leaking. I was doing the job. A few drops of oil dropped as I was tightening the gasket. Am I going to be okay? I feel like once it does, it's a few heat cycles. You'll be all right, One thing you need to keep in mind, too, is nothing in automotive will ever be perfect. You can replace gaskets. You can do every single thing. Sometimes a gasket will just slightly leak a little bit of oil. Like the turbo lines I did on my 335i. I have a slight leak coming from one of the turbo lines, and I saw a little drip of oil coming down, a little bit of evidence. It happens. So do your best, mitigate it. If it's not leaking onto the ground, let it run for a couple weeks, see how things tighten up. But nothing will ever be like perfect leak free on every single component, So you just got to stay realistic. Don't punish yourself over it. Be proud of the fact that you did it. And, if it's better than it was, that's an improvement. But again, if it's got a hemorrhaging leak, that's another story. You can address it then. Andy said, don't they make shorter 2-post lifts? I think they do. but I haven't done much research on it. I was talking to some lift manufacturers when I was at SEMA last year, and it seemed like they have some really good options. It's just big bucks. It's like at least a couple grand for a proper lift. Just don't have it in the budget right now. Vivor sent me that lift for free. I got an email and they're like, hey, you want to try out any of these 5 items? And in there was a $1,300 lift. And I was like, can I have the lift? And they're like, yeah, sure. What's your address? And then I never heard anything from them ever again. And then one day, a semi truck tried to deliver it to my house when I wasn't there. And I emailed them afterwards and I was like, hey, I made this short. Like, let me show it to you guys. Never heard from them. So they just sent me the lift. It was weird, but I did make a video for them. Not sure if you know the model, but I own an E81. It's an E82 hatch version. Cheers from Portugal. Awesome. Awesome to have a viewer from Portugal. What's up, Gerardo? What's up, broski? Knobnard. Dude, your E90, E46 videos are really helpful. Ever thought of doing an E36? I would love to do an E36. I used to work on them quite a bit at the BMW shop. They're great cars. They're great engines. The interior door panels just fall apart when you look at them wrong. So that's the only downside. The body style isn't my favorite, but they are pretty classic. But I'd love to do one. I see them around for cheap. So once I get my E30 sold, and probably when I sell the E90, we can start jumping into other models, maybe E39, maybe E36. Maybe do a video on the central locking system for E46 and E53. Central locking systems can be kind of a pain, huh? Those switches like to act funky all the time. We used to keep a bunch of spare central locking switches in stock at the shop just to fiddle around. Hamburg, Germany. What's up? Zico can? What's up, Rob? I was just talking about when that Vivor car lift showed up, and I called Rob that day and I was like, yo, dude, this fucking lift just showed up at my house, bro. What's up, Connor? How you doing, dude? Good to see you again, man. But yeah, TJ. What is up, TJ? Thanks for joining the membership program, dude. Really appreciate that. But yeah, guys, we're just going to be kicking it for like an hour and a half before I cook some dinner. We're going to be doing some burgers tonight. So I just wanted to kind of do BMW related, not BMW related, personal, car questions, whatever. Just kind of a little bit of a ask me anything. Would you ever look into moving into a big city for collaboration? I think about that when I travel. I see other bigger cities, and I see just the car culture, the shops going down to SoCal, and it seems really nice. I definitely enjoy being down there, car meets and stuff like that. So I grew up in Orange County. For 26 years, I lived in Orange County. Grew up in San Clemente. Lived near Laguna Beach area, Dana Point, Aliso Viejo. And it's all I knew. And then I got a job offer to come up here to Northern California to work as a firefighter. And once I drove up and got up here, I just realized that like I like smaller population places. I love rivers and oceans and mountains, and I've really started to learn hunting, and I really love hunting. And so moving into a bigger, more crowded metropolitan area, I don't know if I can ever move back to an area with traffic again. I think coming up here just kind of ruined me. I do want to move to a slightly larger place, you know, but probably on like the outskirts of a bigger metropolitan area. I'll check my emails tonight, Connor, and I'll see about getting back to you, all right? But yeah, I don't know if I want to move to a bigger city center. I was just up in Washington exploring the Washington coast, and I really liked it. Area of like Olympia. So I do want to go somewhere with a little bit bigger population, a little bit bigger car scene. But for the most part, I'm just going to be doing stuff from my home garage, and just trying to collaborate, work with brands online. Now, of course, I do want to get into like more travel related stuff, you know, giving away more cars like we did with Veronica Del Real in Phoenix, and documenting more trips like that. And so I don't want to stay just isolated to where I'm living, but yeah, hopefully that answers your question. I definitely don't want to move back to a bigger city. I don't see myself ever moving to a place like LA or back to Orange County, or maybe even really like San Diego right now. You hunt on public land? I'm having a hard time finding land to hunt that's not private in Ohio. I do hunt on public land. This is my second year hunting. This year will actually be my 3rd year. I got my 1st year last year, and it was on public land. I got really lucky too. The stars just aligned and God wanted me to have that deer, and everything fell into place. I actually set a waypoint on my Onyx app exactly where I thought the deer would be the next morning, got up on top of the hill, and 3 deer, 4 deer walked out right out of the thicket right next to the spring where I thought they'd be, and there was a 2x2 buck just standing perfectly still for me. I recommend using Onyx, and you can go through, see what's private, see what's public, pay for the premium version, and that app really helps me last hunting season. E36 content would be cool, Andy says. Andy actually sent me parts for the car that I sold to Daniel in El Paso, Texas, and I'll never forget that. So thanks again for hooking me up with those seat motor parts, Andy, that control switch. I always thought the 323 IS was the best looking non-M E36. Used to have a 97 318 Ti. My coworker had one of those 318 Ti's. Those are super cool, super unique. At first I was like, oh, it's kind of a funky car, you know, looks like almost like that car from Breaking Bad that Walter White drives, you know, it's just like so boxy and clunky in the end, but it's classic, you know, and it's retro. Rumpelstiltskin says, stay out of the bigger cities. I agree, partner. What is up, Mystic One? Cedric, been watching your channel and great content. Learned a lot. Have an E39 and E46. Keep up the great work. Great choice in cars, dude. Those are both just solid, bulletproof platforms. It would be great to have an E39 on the channel. It'll probably be an M54, but maybe we could get like a 540i. Maybe we could do an M62, because I have done some engine replacements on those. I have done timing chains and guides, timing covers, valve covers, you know, doing the valley pipes and all that jazz. I have quite a bit of experience on those. They're just starting to get a little bit more valuable, don't you think? It's kind of like the poor man's M5, those 540i's, but they are absolute rocket ships, and that V8 sounds so good. Been watching your channel, planning on getting an E63 as a project car. What are your opinion on that generation of 6 Series? The one I'm trying to get runs and drives, but it needs a lot of cosmetic work. So E63, so that would have the N62 TU engine in it, right? The newer generation from the M62. To be honest, those cars can be pretty high maintenance. There's this alternator bracket deal in the bottom right hand corner of the serpentine assembly, and there's like some oil passages in there that leak. Valve guide seals go bad on them. I used to do valve guide seals on those. Never really saw timing chain issues like the M62s, but they can be pretty labor intensive. The vacuum pumps go out and leak. Water pumps like to go out. And everything in the valley there's those water pipes that run underneath the central intake manifold. Pulling that intake off and doing those pipes and doing like that valley pan with that seal and everything. Angel sent a gift, a disco ball. I don't know what that means, but I think we got some bits from it. Thanks, Angel. Really appreciate that. E63s can be cool. N62s can be a lot of work though, so just be mindful of that. Boot Mod 3 or Carbon Tune for X5. Dude, the thing is, I don't know like really anything about aftermarket. I'm a little bit better with like stock repairs, things you'd run into at a standard BMW shop, but we really tried to stay away from aftermarket things, so I wouldn't be able to answer your question. I wish I could though. Mystic One, my camshaft adaptations are over limit. I mean, shoot, I don't know. Are the part numbers on intake and exhaust camshaft sensors the same? If so, I'd swap it, see if the codes follow. If they're different and you can't do that, I'd pull them off, inspect. I know they have magnets on them, and sometimes little bits of metal debris from the engines can build up on top of those magnets, similar to like a wheel speed sensor. I have seen cars jump timing, but I mean, like Rumpelstiltskin says, pulling camshaft sensors, swapping them, replacing them would probably be your cheapest option if you wanted to go bigger, but it kind of depends. Like, so adaptations are over limit, so I'd kind of need to look it up and try to get a little bit better understanding of what codes you have and what the codes are specifically saying. Angels, my E46 has so many problems. I tried doing all the work myself, but I know nothing about your cars. I found you while looking up guides. My area charges crazy prices for a shop to do it. BMW prices are nuts, dude. Like, 2016, 2017, we were charging 175 an hour. The dealer was getting up to 200, 225. There was a lot of BMW master techs that worked with me. And they used to work at the dealership, so we tried to be like a dealership alternative, but labor rates are getting ridiculous. I'm pretty sure some of the dealerships are probably getting up to, you know, just shy of $300 an hour, which is exactly why I wanted to make this channel. That way we can go over repairs. You guys can, you know, see some jobs that are being done that you might not have seen before, and then that can build up some confidence, and then you can just sort of start to take that momentum and roll it into more and more jobs. Because that's what this is all about. It's not even really about showing you guys repairs. It's about, you know, sharing the DIY process and hopefully motivating some people out there to step outside of their comfort zone, try something new. Because, I mean, 10 years ago, all I knew how to do was oil changes and brake jobs, barely. Like, I was such a noob when I first started working at that BMW shop. I was so scared of these cars. I knew nothing about them. I was scared to do a brake fluid flush, but once you get some reps in, you say, oh, this isn't that bad. And you just got to remind yourself of the mentality. If something breaks, you can fix it. Everything is fixable. You know, sometimes the fix is really big, you know, sometimes it's an engine, but, you know, just like we're talking about in here, stripped out crank pulley bolts, like there's a solution. You don't have to throw the car away. You know, there's a way to get that bolt out. It might take a while, it might take a day or two, but there's always a solution to the problem. Please make more E46 videos, Jep says. I will. I'll have another E46 video coming out this next month. I'm waiting on some parts from FCPO. We're going to do an entire serpentine belt refresh. We're going to replace the main belt, the AC belt. We're going to do AC tensioner, main tensioner, idler pulley. And we're just going to talk about it, how to do it, how to spin the pulleys, what to look for, and how to go through the whole process, including taking out the cooling fan and all that jazz. You have a 2002 540. Nice. That is a sweet car. My first BMW I ever had, I think, was a 2000 or 2001 E39 540i. And the timing chains failed. So I bought it from the customer. The engine was completely smoked. It was just covered with metal. So I bought a used engine, swapped all the components over, did timing chain guides. Really cool timing chain or timing procedure on those two. You set up your blocks, and then there's these little like phasers on the cam, and you connect a multimeter to them, and when you get continuity, then you lock it down. But those engines perfectly timed, like beautiful thing. You can rest a glass of water on top of the engine and it won't even shake. So I really am a big fan of the M62. Are a little more higher maintenance, so usually the timing chain guides go out. Thoughts on where to find info on BMW Diag documentations? That's a good question. Just Googling your codes and a description of your code with what type of chassis will give you tons of, you know, BIMR forums and all that type of stuff. Even as a mechanic, I would use the internet as a resource all the time. So honestly, I'd start there. Having ISTA is helpful, but you know, it's not going to diagnose everything for you. But you know, just researching on the internet, giving a quick Google search and scanning through the forums and really trying to pick through them one by one. There's always someone else out there that has had the same problem as you. And luckily, some people really like to document those types of things. And so that can be super, super helpful. So I honestly always just start with the internet. Even myself, I used to have customers come in like, oh, this is happening, this is happening. So I go look at the car. First thing I do, go to the internet, start researching it, see what I can find, at least get an idea on where I can start and have something to look at. Rob, 540i with the 6 manual trans would be the sauce. It would be the sauce, especially with like a resonator delete. Oh, be beautiful. All right, so Mystic 1, exhaust cam was way off. Another thing you can do, pull the valve cover, buy an M54 timing kit. If you do have an M54, see if it jumped timing. I have seen BMWs jump timing in the past, but it's a possibility. Amy, so great to catch you live. Love watching your videos. Had an E46, want another. Currently have an F80. Badass. Thanks for jumping in. Glad to catch you on the live. We did a live the last 2 Sundays, and it's been a really good time, so I'm trying to keep it a consistent little thing. It's pretty cold outside. I didn't really have anything in the garage to keep me busy, so I'm like, hey, just throw it in the office. That way I can focus on answering any questions and really chop it up with you guys. E92 or G80. Honestly, I couldn't even tell you what a G80 looks like because my biggest experience was on E-chassis, but let's look it up. G80 BMW images. Ooh, that's pretty slick. So it's got the new style grills. Yeah, there's a 2023 G80 M3. I really never even saw G chassis working in the shop because once the F chassis started coming around, let's see, F10s, F30s, and then I started losing track because I couldn't remember the denominations. But I left the BMW shop in like 2019, so we were just starting to have like a steady stream of F chassis coming in. Is it in timing now? Yes, the exhaust is spot on. Have you put a timing kit on it though? You know, that's the only true way to know if it's in time. Sometimes you can pull the valve cover, drop the timing kit onto it, you know, and you slide it down over the camshafts. And if it's not seating on the cylinder head, you know, if it's just slightly tilted off or it doesn't just fall straight down and come straight back off, it might not be in time. What's your favorite 3 Series? E46, 100% Keith. E46. Do you have to do adaptations? Second favorite 3 Series, I think, might be a E90. It might be. I really love the reliability of the N51, the N52, N54. It's a love-hate relationship. Same with the N55, but the N51 and N52s are pretty bulletproof. Connor, do you have to do adaptation on the camshaft and crankshaft sensors? I'm not sure. I don't remember. I'd have to go into ISTA and see. Jordan, play any sports? I just recently started playing golf, and I'm absolutely in love with the game. I try to play like once or twice a week. I love to fish. Fishing is like my #1 true love. Been doing that for like the last 10 years pretty heavily. Offshore fishing in Southern California, yellowtail tuna, halibut, white sea bass. I like to fish up here for black rockfish, lingcod, salmon, steelhead. But as far as like sports go, golf's my #1. N54 thoughts. N54s are rocket ships, and they are monsters. They're very high maintenance. I mean, my BMW turbo video, I told you guys it's like 15.7 hours labor book time to replace those 2 turbos and all the lines. Not to mention high pressure fuel pump, $2,000 in injectors, electronic water pump and thermostat going out, and then you have engine mounts, oil pan gasket, valve cover gasket, oil filter housing, belt tensioners, radiators, upper and lower hoses, Mickey Mouse hose. Now, of course, that's just me looking at it from everything that breaks, right? They can be a lot more reliable than that. But like even the E90 I got for free with the N54, I've probably put $5,000 into it. Radiators and hoses, and like I said, you know, over $2,000 in Vitesco injectors, eBay turbos, even just all the lines and the gaskets, because the car came with the turbos, cost me over $1,000 just for the turbo lines and the gaskets and the exhaust manifold gaskets just to do those turbo jobs. So I love them. I think the N54 is awesome. I think it's a rocket ship, but it is one of the most high maintenance BMW engines I've ever worked on. What's next performance wise for the N54? So I think I just want to get it to a really nice running, driving, no check engine light position. So I'm just going to try to fix all that stuff. This month I'm doing an entire suspension refresh on it. I'm putting in Bilstein struts, Bilstein shocks. I just got a spring compressor kit. So we're going to pull the struts, we're going to break them down completely, swap the coils over to new struts, do new strut mounts. We're going to do all that in the home garage and then align it. And then, you know, just turn it into a nice, clean driver. I'm probably not going to do anything on the exterior. I might try to play around with some paintless dent removal stuff, or maybe find somewhere nearby that wants to help me out with it. But as far as like aftermarket stuff, I don't know if I'm going to do anything performance-wise. I just had someone comment, offer me a free charge pipe for it because I'm still using the plastic one, which I did buy and replace. But I'm really like not well versed in aftermarket stuff for BMWs. I'm sure you guys know way more than me. I simply just repaired and fixed and, you know, do an oil pan gasket a day, 2 brake jobs, an oil filter housing, maybe a brake fluid flush. So I just did like all those consistent gravy jobs with some diagnoses sprinkled in. So I'm telling you, we never touched anything aftermarket. Even if it was aftermarket suspension, we were just like, nah, we're not really the guys. Like, you know, go find someone that specializes in aftermarket stuff because there's just so many fitment issues that can come into play. Do you ever use ISTA? If so, if not, how to deep dive errors related to intelligent battery sensors. Pretty sure I have a bad one on my E60, 42,000 miles. That is low mileage for an E60. That is sick. I know intelligent battery sensors do fail. However, I'm not very well versed in them, so I'm going to keep it honest with you. BMWs are also known for battery draws. And so if you're not familiar with a parasitic draw or how to go about diagnosing that, do you have an intelligent battery sensor fault, or are you getting, rapid battery drain? I'd be curious to know more. You think the intake cam is advanced? Well, Mystic, anytime I want to confirm timing or anytime I have timing issues, pulling the valve cover really ain't too bad. Get yourself a fresh gasket, buy a timing kit online, should maybe cost you $100, and physically check the camshafts. And like I said, even if it binds a little bit, slipping down onto those cams, it still might not be in time. It can be off a tooth, half a tooth, the smallest little difference, and it can really start to act up. Hey man, my 5-speed 03 330i makes a marble in a can type noise when I'm decelerating in gear at low speed. Only happens after all components are warmed up, doesn't happen when in neutral, parked, or revving. Well, I might look at your center support bearing. If you're in park, drive shaft's not spinning. If you're in neutral, drive shaft's not spinning. If you're in reverse, I don't know. That's really hard. What do you guys think? Marble in a can type noise when decelerating in gear at low speed. I know drive shafts can act up when decelerating in gear, but let me ponder on that. I put an 8-inch step intercooler and HKS charge pipe on my N54 535i. Did you notice any improvement when you did that, Matthew? Rob, what do you feed that glorious mustache? Was getting my beard out a few weeks ago after surgery, shaved it off, but trying to grow back. Dude, we're doing nothing on this bad boy. We're just letting it ride. It's the only piece of facial hair I can actually grow properly. However, I've been having crazy skin issues on my scalp and in my face. I was getting dry skin, peeling. Maybe you guys have ever had this before, but it was get scaly, and then it would kind of fluff off in the shower washing my face, and my skin would be red and irritated. I discovered that it was seborrheic dermatitis, and I was using coconut oil, and it turns out seborrheic dermatitis is from this type of fungus, I guess, that we all have naturally on our skin, and it feeds off long chain fatty acids, and the coconut oil was just feeding it. So I switched to MCT oil, which is medium chain triglyceride oil. So it's more refined, not virgin coconut oil. And I've been using beef tallow. My chick got some beef tallow. It's beef tallow, honey, beeswax, and olive oil. And I've just been trying to go all natural. So this is beef tallow fed stash. Thoughts on M42 4-cylinder in the 318 E36? I've only worked on them just briefly, but any older 4-cylinder BMW around that range is usually super, super bulletproof and super solid. John, you finally made it to a live, dude. What's up? Great to see you, dude. Catching up on the first 10 minutes in double speed. We'll join you all soon. Hell yeah, John. Good to see you, bro. Hoping to get my content started up soon. Any advice on getting started? Also, if you ever need more parts, I live by 2 to 3 part yards that always have BMWs. Probably find you anything. Andy, you're a weird one. Thanks, dude. My best advice for getting started is just to start. Your first stuff is not going to be your best stuff. I was just showing my girlfriend some of my earlier videos the other day, and we were just cringing together at my outros and how uncomfortable I looked and how uncomfortable I felt. Just getting those reps in and just getting started, because each video is going to be better than the last. Also, you don't need to invest a bunch of money. I'm still shooting every piece of content that you guys watch. I still shoot that on my cell phone. I shoot it on my cell phone. I use a little wireless mic set like this. It's what I got attached on right here. This I think is Hollyland. Hollyland little Bluetooth wireless microphones. and I edit using this app on my phone called VLLO, and it's free. So just keeping things low budget, and reducing that barrier to entry and just getting started. Another big thing I like to focus on too is just title and thumbnail. You know, if people don't click on it, they won't watch it and you won't get any views. So appealing to people's curiosities and having a good eye-popping thumbnail is also really important. But just start getting reps in, dude. Send it over to me and I will watch you and I will support you. Oh, I gotta catch up on comments real quick. Connors, charge $1,300 for a new valve cover, intake manifold starter. They also fix broken wires, clean the engine bay. Right on. That's a pretty good deal, dude. Like valve cover, pulling the intake and doing the starter already. Like I used to charge over $1,000 for starters at the shop, so it's not too bad. See your puppy's limping around. Is she doing any better? She's doing better. She got a little flea infestation a couple weeks ago. Her skin's been getting super irritated and it's actually like been bleeding when she's been scratching it the last couple days. Been giving her some Benadryl. She's doing better. The limp's improving, but I am calling to take her into the vet tomorrow because we got a couple issues we need to get figured out. Opinions on E39s. I love them. I think they're great. Sometimes the interiors get a little beat up and they need a little refreshing with used parts, but they're solid cars. Anything with the M54. If BMWs are fixable, why don't you finish design before it's through to the public and there's so many things going wrong? Sorry, Jose, I'm having a hard time. If BMWs are fixable, why they don't finish the design before it goes to the public? I hear what you're saying. So, you know, why don't they fine-tune the cars before it goes out on the road and they start failing? Well, you know, they're not planning ahead for what's going to happen in 100K, 150,000 miles. But I'm also under the idea sometimes that car manufacturers will not make cars to last perfectly for 200,000 miles and have super tight gaskets, because then how are they going to make money off you in their service department? John, love the content. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Rumpelstiltskin, Launch Code Reader 2 will read any code you have. They also do free updates. Does coding of injectors. That's awesome. For anybody that doesn't have ISTA, maybe Launch Code Reader 2 is a good option. M52 TU opinion. I think the M52s are solid. They are probably maybe more. John, you dog. John's always in here hooking me up with money for Sage. I really appreciate that, dude. I've been hesitant to take her to the vet because, like we talked about before, you know, it's going to be a $300-400 for an x-ray for her limp. And then it's like, oh, well, x-ray didn't show anything. Now we need to do an MRI. And it's like, oh, here comes another $300 or $400. So really appreciate that, John. Thanks, man. You're awesome. This guy's straight up running the Discord without me in there too. He's been so helpful. There's over 200 people in there, and John has just been legend. Looking to get a 2021 X5 40 60K miles for 34. I would love to give you my opinion, but I've never gotten behind the wheel of one. I've never worked on one. I'm not sure what's engine is in it, so I can't give you an opinion because I just, you know, don't have any experience. Amy says, parts have gotten stupid expensive, seems like. Valve cover just cost me $600 for the part, and it will likely take me 2 days to do the job. What engine do you have, and where'd you get the part? I'm just curious. Nobody says, step it up in here. Double tap your screen to like. It's free to like and subscribe. Help the algorithms. Really appreciate that, dude. It's awesome being in these lives. Last live I did, 50 subscribers tuned in. So maybe we can hit the 100K subscriber mark this year. All we need is just another good video to take off. But it's been great to chop it up in here with you guys and, you know, hang out for these lives the last couple of weeks. Any maintenance tips on M20 engines in the E3028S? Just staying up on basics, you know, staying up on oil services. Never trust your factory oil service intervals. New car CBS data, it'll reset to 12,000, 15,000 miles. It's absolutely ludicrous. At most, do 7,000 miles on your oil service if you're using really good top-end oil. Still, it's even safer to cut it down to 3,000 to 5,000. You know, you take good care of your cars, they'll take good care of you. Keeping up on top of your oil leaks so oil doesn't get down onto your plastic components. Everything wears out faster when it's saturated in oil. You know, oil pans drip onto your high-pressure power steering hose, control arm bushings, engine mounts. They'll all go out faster if they're coated in oil. So staying up on top of that. Thoughts on the M57? Thinking about adding an E60 M5 35D From my small experience working on the M57s, they are solid, they are bulletproof, they're fuel efficient. I've only done some minor repairs on them, oil filter housings, glow plug modules, but the diesel exhaust fluid system is an absolute nightmare, and it is super expensive to fix. So extended warranty might be a good idea, or live somewhere where you can delete it completely. Rack and pinion has a leak on one side. My steering has a little play. Is that a cause? Or U-joint on the steering shaft? I highly doubt it's a U-joint on the steering shaft if it has play. I had a car, the one I sold to Daniel, there's a video on it. I did a rack and pinion replacement. It just had a lot of play in the center, and it just felt sketchy. You know, you'd bump it and it would grab and hold over here, and it was just a bunch of oversteer off the center point. Bought a used rack and pinion off eBay for $100, slapped it in, perfect, fixed it. So I haven't rebuilt any rack and pinions before, but I would say that would be a good way to go. Matthew says my M54 has 63,000 miles. That's crazy. That is like nothing. Sarhan, your N55 335i is a little too smoky when idling. White smoke is getting out of my exhaust. What should I check? Do you think she has some air leak somewhere or more than coolant parts? I really want to ask what time of day and what are your weather conditions when you start it. I've had some customers before, they mistake steam and condensation from the exhaust with white smoke. If you do actually have white smoke, I would smell it. If it smells sweet, it's potentially coolant, but I highly doubt that because head gasket issues and coolant getting into the combustion chamber is far rarer than people think. If you do think it's smoky, what I like to do is let the car idle for 5-10 minutes, let it get super smoking hot, and then slap the throttle all the way down, rev it up to 5,000 or so, look out the back to see if there's a big plume of smoke. Also smell the exhaust when you think it's smoky, see what it smells like, stick your hand in front of it, try to feel if it's oily at all, and get a little bit better understanding of exactly what you're seeing out of the exhaust. Rumpelstiltskin, love mine N54, but you're right about maintenance. Currently doing a complete refresh on mine, so it's dependable. They are rocket ships, dude, and they're so fast. I've seen some of the builds where people put, you know, single turbos on them, and I would love to do that in the future. But for a stock car, like if you can't afford an M3, if you can afford an N54 or an N55, they can get there. And I truly believe that an N54 tuned could probably outperform the S65 in some BMWs. Cedric, cost of E46 repair is crazy high in the Bay Area. Bought a used E46 about 6 years ago with leaking oil filter gasket. Got quoted $600. There you go. That's the beauty of YouTube, my friend. YouTube University. You can fix anything with a little bit of knowledge. Now that you've done your oil filter housing, you probably got the skills for a valve cover gasket. And you probably got the skills to take your serpentine belt off and refresh the pulleys. And then you can get down below and you got the skills to replace the water pump and the thermostat. And just keep going. Just keep going and try to keep teaching yourself these skills because it is just so valuable. You proved it right there, Cedric. You got an E82 with the M54 all stock. When I floor it at low RPM, seems to break up. Probably coils, maybe spark plugs. That's the first thing that I check. What you do, and what I would do when hey, Rumpelstiltskin, that's a really good point. Marble in a can sounds like it could be a heat shield for sure. What I like to do anytime I'm diagnosing a check engine light or rough idle misfire, I take it to the nearest freeway on-ramp and I stomp on it and I floor it and I see what the car can do. Put it under its heaviest load conditions. N54s are known for misfires. Get that thing to throw a check engine light. Once you have a check engine light, let's say cylinder 2, pull the cover off for the valve cover, get access, swap cylinder 2 ignition coil to number 1, swap cylinder 2 spark plug to number 3. Make note of that, and then go delete the codes, beat it up again, see where the code follows. Then you know whether it's coil or spark plug. Once you have that, replace all 6. Replace all 6 of whatever you're doing. Never just do one by one because they like to go out in series, and next thing you know, you're going to be doing the labor 2-3 times in a row. Matthew, massive performance gains, but I'm running a stage 2 tune. I'd like to tune my car too. Hey Alec, thanks for the great content. Really like your channel. My quick question is about your 07 328i 6-speed. So that's going to be an E90. When it's cold, I notice it's hard to get it into first gear. That's interesting. What's the mileage on it? And is it ever had a clutch done, sometimes just getting in there and doing the clutch can just really refresh things. Also replacing the detents when you have the transmission out. That'll center up the shifter. Maybe it's just a worn clutch. Who knows? I'm not sure. Maybe it has to do with the pressure plate or the slave cylinder. Selene Quintero, you're so fine on God. Thanks. I'll tell my girlfriend when we're done. Joshua, thanks. No turbos, just naturally aspirated. Gonna check heat shield and center support bearing next time I lift the car. Awesome. Another idea, if you want to check the center support bearing and you don't want to drop the exhaust, you can get a little borescope off Amazon that plugs into your iPhone, and you can just snake a camera there up underneath the heat shield. Also hard to get it rolling from a stop without vibrations. Do you have any ideas? I don't have any ideas off the top of my head. But what's the mileage on your car? I got to get caught up on these real quick. I'll probably see your mileage once we get down there. Took my BMW to Take 5. 2 weeks later, I have to pay for some gas. Took my BMW to Take 5. I think that's the car wash place, right? 2 weeks later, after I had paid for some gas, I drove for 10 minutes. Lieutenant Dan, what's up, dude? Look on the forums to find ISTA. Yes. If you look on the forums, there's all kinds of ISTA instructions. I think some people on there, people on there know how to like pirate it. I had someone do that for me. I am an absolute caveman with computers and technology. I'm really not that good. I knew from your first couple videos you would succeed. I remember you telling you back then. Thanks, Chad. You've been a long time viewer, man. I sent you the very first giveaway, the Autoline Pro smoke machine, dude. And you got to fix your cars with it. That was awesome. Love seeing your name in here, dude. Killer Clan, took my BM. All right, here we go. Drove to the gas station on my way home. Car cut off on me in mid-drive. You can tell me what happened to it? Did you take it through a car wash? If you did, potentially water getting into the DME box there. I've seen that, especially when people take off the microfilter assemblies and they delete it and put on aftermarket stuff. Stuff's there for a reason sometimes. It channels all that water away from that DME box up by the firewall. At what point in horsepower gains do I need to tune the trans? I don't know, my friend. I don't know. I'm not really good at aftermarket stuff. Should I sell or keep my 135i M55 DCT? Hard to say. M55s can be good if they're well maintained. They can also scare the shit out of me for those rod bearings. One of my favorite cars is a 2000 M Coupe, Storo Blue, inside and out. That's a badass car. All right, I'm scrolling through here real quick because I just now got to John's donation. Bogues, what's up? I don't hate the M54. I actually love it. But like I said before, it is just super high maintenance. It costs a lot of money to keep those things on the road. What's your favorite 3 Series generation? E46. Yuna, you think an electric torque wrench with angle is a worthwhile investment? I'm a DIYer, but I'd like to get more involved with my 335i, eventually get to doing the oil pan. Absolutely. I have a super expensive Snap-on one I bought many years ago. It's like over $600. You don't need that. I think I linked one on my latest oil pan video. No, maybe. I think I linked it on my upload yesterday morning, control arm replacement. I think I put a link for an Amazon torque wrench in there that does Newton meters and degrees of torque. So just buy something cheap. Buy cheap tools and build up a big catalog. You don't need to buy the expensive Snap-on stuff. Danger Boy, she is family and is full of unconditional love. Look beyond what Bettvilles cost. 100%. I agree. I'm going to bite the bullet, get down to it. Any F-Series in the future? F10? I would do an F10. That would be sick. Who's Sirhan? Dude, heading to bed, 2 a.m. here. Have a nice time, guys. Take care of you and your beloved Alex. See ya. Day off DIY for life. Smash that like and subscription button, guys. Sirhan, you're a legend. Thanks, dude. Hope you have a great night. Hopefully, catch you soon. I'll look for you in the contents, and we'll try to hit a live next Sunday, okay? S55 F80 with the valve cover. So many things to remove first. Yeah, I didn't work on S55s too much because they were still pretty new. Free samples. That's wild comments, bro. Ralph Pina, what's up, dude? Good to see you. Once you get above 200K, I change the oil every 3 to 4K. That's a great oil service interval, Chad. That's right on the money. 2014 M6. Don't really recall the car very much. Don't even know really what engine it would have. Is that the S63? Here's one for you. I was given a 2003 330i. Is that correct? 2000 330i with a 50K on it. Always garage serviced by the dealer. Only code is a bad battery and the alarm level sensor. Where is it? I think the module that's responsible for the alarm is somewhere underneath the dash. I forget on the driver's side or passenger. Oh, Danger Boy 2006. So that would be, is that a late model E46, guys? I think it's down somewhere under there. I did them once. Know what can cause a misfire on an M52? It's also paired with fuel control trim codes, replace coils, plugs, misfire jumps around. Sounds like a vacuum leak. If you've got trim codes, you need to smoke it, see if there's any vacuum leaks, because if you got a vacuum leak, it's going to affect all 6 cylinders. Misfires can jump around if the air-fuel mixture ratio is off. If you have steady on one cylinder, you can rule out fuel injector, spark plug, or ignition coil. John says, at Cedric, oil filter housing gasket was one of my first big repairs, and a valve cover replacement was a lot less of an OMG moment when I got to it. Join the Discord and we can help you out. 100%. Join the Discord, get in there. I'm pretty sure John did a write-up on the oil filter housing, if I'm not mistaken, inside the Discord. He started doing a bunch of write-ups. KG, you on here snitch again? Yeah, I'm snitching on your bitch ass. What's good, y'all? Last Chance Fossil, good to see you, dude. I still need to get back to your comment on the YouTube. I still need to reply to all the comments on that most recent video. Thoughts on oil additives, fuel additives to help with valve cleaning? What's a product you swear by for maintenance or even preventative? You know, I don't really know of any good ones. I like to run an occasional fuel system treatment in there. As far as back of the intake valves go, you know, Seafoam has always been an old tried and true. We worked with BG for a little bit while I was at the shop. They make some really nice products. I did use an engine flush additive from Amsoil, but it's just really hard to know whether they're doing their job or not, because it's really hard to see proof unless you were to do some before and after of the intake valves with a fuel supplement. But I do love Seafoam. Chad, you got to go. Proud of you, brother. Keep being you, doing what you enjoy. Till next time. Thank you all for all the knowledge. Share your positive energy. Appreciate you, Chad. Hope you have a great night, Dan. We'll see you next time. Want some content? Got an E90 that needs an oil pan and turbo upgrades. Where you at? Yuna, thanks. Look into it. Dream car is a Lancer Evo 6. Evos are sick. Just got to Sirhan's donation. So awesome. Sirhan, you're such a good dude. Great car content. Your fan service is top notch. Keep on keeping on. Thanks, Yuna. Appreciate that. Thanks, Rumpel. Hope you have a good night, dude. Any fishing recently? Haven't done any fishing really recent, but steelhead season is just now picking up here in the north coast of California. Rivers are starting to clean up. So I'm hoping to get some steelhead fishing here in soon. Maybe some spring salmon. Matthew, just hit subscribe. How hard is it to walnut blast the N54? It's really not that bad. I've also seen some hacks in there where people will like take a bunch of zip ties and throw them into a drill and just like soak it with brake cleaner and whip those zip ties around in there. If you do want to walnut blast, there's a video on my channel on my E90 335i playlist, and it shows before and after the intake cleaning process. I show you all the tools that I bought for it with an entire breakdown. So if it is something you want to do, I think I did it for maybe less than 300 bucks. That'd be a great video for you to watch. David B says, you got a Tesla. Do you like it? Oh, you're in New York. Yeah, that's pretty far away, Jay. I mean, I'm on the exact opposite side of, you know, the US. But I just did a video on the oil pan and turbo, so if you want to tackle it yourself, I suggest you check out that video. Danger Boy, is the code for the tilt level sensor on my E60? I think that's in the rear quarter panel. I'm not sure where yours is off. Are you talking about? No, you guys aren't talking about convertibles. Cedric, thanks. We'll have to download that app. Not a car guy, but I've been learning a lot. Completed valve cover about 5 months ago at DFDIY. I appreciate the time you're taking the live stream. Thanks for tuning in, dude. I'm here to kick it with you guys. Rob! Get you some street time. Rob, you're too nice, bro. Thanks, dude. Really appreciate you, man. I'm actually going to be taking Sage to the vet tomorrow, so I appreciate all the help I can get, man. Matthew, you're from Central Washington. Catch some king salmon for me. Where are you at in Washington? Like Seattle area? I was just up there a couple weeks ago hitting the coast with my girlfriend, and we went from Eureka, California, all the way up the Oregon coast, up into Astoria, and then we cut east a little bit and went up to Olympia, and then we drove north from Olympia to Port Townsend, over to Port Angeles, and then back down. Washington is beautiful. You guys got so much good fishable water up there in the Puget Sound. Love the Tesla, never going back. Good for you, dude. I'd like to get behind the wheel of a Tesla one day. I've used Seafoam before. Feel better with your blessing. Keep up the content. If you get a chance to do a drive to pick up a new project, it's always fun to watch with you and Sage on the road. Awesome. Appreciate the support. And yeah, I like Seafoam. On some of the older cars, what I like to do is take off the brake booster hose and then take a cup of Seafoam and I'll dip it in while the engine's running, and you're just flooding the intake with all that Seafoam, and it really hits the back of the intake valves and it can burn off a lot of carbon. I probably wouldn't do it with newer BMWs because they're a little bit more sensitive, but you could probably maybe get away with it on an E46. I used to do it on my old Jeep and some old trucks, and it is really satisfying to get a big fat plume of garbage coming out of the tailpipe. John, that's where I was going to look, right above the battery where the level sensor is. The alarm batteries in the front driver's wheel well. You guys know more than me. This just goes to show, like, I don't know everything there is to know about these cars, guys. I only worked on them professionally for 6 years. I'm still learning. I'll always be learning, but I'll be honest with you guys. If it's something that I know, I'll help and try to provide some knowledge. If it's something that I don't know, I'm going to tell you, because, you know, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to not be honest with you guys. Already watched your last video on the oil pan. Mine is all-wheel drive. Figure it'd be content and a good walkthrough for the all-wheel drive guys. It would be a huge help for the all-wheel drive guys. But getting your vehicle from New York to California would be an absolute headache. Why is it always a $1.99 thing? Makes me feel cheap. Can't pay a whole dollar. I had no idea, dude. That's too funny, though. Rob, why are you being such a cheap ass, dude? Rob's the most generous guy, one of the most generous guys here in this chat. Rob, Sirhan, John, these guys are just legends in this community. Yuna, you can't bring yourself to power wash the engine. One of these days I'll muster the courage to do. I used to be scared of it too, but just get after it, you know? Worst that can happen is you get a little bit of water into the ignition coil, it starts to misfire, take the cover off, pull the coils out. I've only ever had it backfire on me once, and it was on a N55, and I did exactly that. Too much water got back into cylinder number 6 ignition coil. It got all swollen and all funky, but I've pressure washed hundreds of engines. I used to do it professionally. Leave the car running, avoid the DME box, you know, avoid spraying directly into the alternator. You can squirt the belt, you can squirt the tensioners, you can squirt top of the intake manifold. I've only ever had one problem from it, and all I did was slap a new ignition coil in it. But I want to touch on Jay's comment here real quick for the all-wheel drive. Much bigger job on the all-wheel drives, 100%. But once you can get the CV axles out and the front drive shaft out and pull the front differential, it's pretty much the same as everything else. It's just an extra like 5-6 hours of labor. So hopefully we get an all-wheel drive car soon and we'll be able to do it. Even I don't like doing them. I mean, oil pan is like 10 hours book time, but it needs to be done sometimes. It also gives you a good opportunity to familiarize yourself with the CV axles, and then you can pop out the seals on the differential, you know, reseal the oil pan and fix it up all bitchin', service the differential while it's out. Do all BMWs have rear seatbelt tensioners? I have an 09 328i LCI with no rear seat tensioners, no wiring either. I would think so. You're from Seattle, but you're stationed in Texas. Awesome. You in the military? If so, what branch? David, we have a Model Y, makes it fantastic. I know Rob loves that Tesla. And with your truck giving you trouble, it's probably the most reliable vehicle you got in the fleet now, huh? It'll always be fun to drive BMWs though, guys. Like, people ask me, like, you know, what's so good about them or why is it worth it? You know, take a Toyota Camry and do 90 miles an hour on the highway in that thing. You probably feel like you're ready to lift off with all this air noise whipping by and steering's all soft. You do 90 on the highway in a BMW, it feels like you're doing 60. And that just, you know, proves the quality of the German engineering of the control arms and steering. Would you like to try my tonsil stones? No, I'm okay, thanks though. That sounds pretty gnarly, tonsil stones. Yuma, I once power washed the V12 in my Jag. Bad news, didn't run right for a week. Oh, well, that's not going to be very encouraging for Yuma. But I've had good luck. I've always had good luck with it. You know, just try to avoid the major components. Try to avoid anything electrical. You don't want to just hammer the mass airflow sensor, you know. Steve Stewart says he's got a 2018 BMW X1. He managed to retrofit the heads-up display, and also coded a passenger side door lock switch. That's super cool. That's something that I don't even have experience with, so hats off to you, Steve. That's some cool coding. John, love the attitude, Alec. Always felt like you weren't trying to BS anyone. Takes so much extra energy to try to impress folks. Just be you. Appreciate it, John. I will always just try to be myself with you guys, because I think that's what we all want. You know, I watch a lot of creators on YouTube. It's one of my main forms of entertainment. And you can see through the camera, through the video, at the authenticity of somebody. And I think there's a big shift now from going sort of from the Mr. Beastification of YouTube to, you know, we just want genuine people to watch and hang out with, you know. And you can pick up on that authenticity right away in a video. And so as time goes on, I'm just trying to be more and more myself with you guys. And if people like it, awesome. If people don't like it, that's okay. I'm not their cup of tea, but I think it's good for everybody. Just try to stay true to your colors. Try not to impress anybody. Just be nice to people, you know. RR Joe says, just wanted to say thanks for the content. Keep it up. Greetings from Spain. Awesome. Awesome. We got a Spaniard in the chat. I will for sure reach out in the community if I ever do like international travel too, because there's so many people in like Germany and Spain and, you know, Africa, wherever. And it would be so cool to just be like, hey, I'm going to be in Germany next month. Is there anybody that wants to show me around, show me how the locals live? You know, Anthony Bourdain is one of my favorite people ever to have lived. And I always thought that he had the coolest job ever, because people bring him into his homes and their grandmas cook for him, and he gets to see how the locals live and eat the local cuisine. And I think it would be so awesome to just get together with people in the community when I travel and just, you know, get a little bit of insight on how they live life. So definitely try to reach out in the community when I do more travels. Should I sell your '03 G35i automatic sedan for an E46? I don't know. Is a G35 reliable? Maybe some people can chime in that have experience. E46s are great though. If you're looking for a good beginner basic BMW to get into, E46s, you can find them for cheap in the US. They're relatively easy to work on, and I got a whole list of content on my channel. Showcases a lot of repairs. Mike Jones, 281-330-8004. Mike Jones, what's the update on the channel? I feel like things have slowed down a bit over the last couple months. Are you getting burned out or just losing motivation? I'm not really getting burned out. Sometimes a little bit. I'm not losing motivation. See, the big thing is my YouTube channel doesn't pay the bills. I make less than $800 a month on YouTube. Right now, my main bulk of income comes from working with brands like Autoline Pro. I make all their content for their Instagram, their TikTok, their social medias, and that's what pays the bills. That's what pays the mortgage. So a lot of my time in the month is focusing on creating content for other people that you guys don't see unless you follow those types of channels. Partnering with FCPRO has been absolutely huge, because now I get to work on my channel with them. So it's helping bring in a little bit more revenue. But, you know, like my full-time job is more so creating content for other brands, not even so much my brand. So I'm trying to step it up. I'm trying to get more spontaneous posts out there. I'm gonna go shoot a video in my garage tomorrow. Hopefully you guys will enjoy. Gonna strip all the stickers and all that ugly badging off the E90 and just sort of kind of just do a vlog style update sort of deal. So hopefully that gives you a little bit more insight. I'd love to post more, and I'm gonna do my best to keep posting more. And doing these lives every Sunday is just another way in which I can start to build that momentum. Alec, the great thing about your channel and the web, if you don't know something, there's always someone that knows. We all share information, 100%. And like I even said in the oil pan video, you know, if you guys know more than me, chime in, drop it in the comments. I'll pin it, because there are so many comments in there that have like 50, 100 likes, and they're just dropping crazy bits of knowledge that even I have no idea. I get corrected on my own videos all the time. 2002 325i M54, 280K. Changed out valve cover gasket. Believe old plastic valve covers cracked somewhere. Bought an aluminum valve cover, going to change it out next month. That happened for me. I was smoking my M54 just to do content for Autoline Pro using the smoke machine. Turns out I had a cracked valve cover. So I just bought a regular OE replacement, but just double check all your seals when you use that aluminum one, because if it's aftermarket, it might have fitment issues. JC Rebuild says, hi from Michigan. What's up, JC? Your name kind of sounds familiar. Did I meet you at SEMA by chance last year? Maybe not. Cedric says, gotta run. Good to see you, Cedric. Cedric. Joe Alcott, never worked on this car until watching your videos. Wish I would have found these videos years ago. I wish I was making these videos years ago. Would have saved thousands. Thank you for what you're doing. You've helped us all. Really, really appreciate that. Thanks, Joe. That's exactly what this is all for. I want to help empower you guys to learn how to do your own repairs, get that motivation going, because then you can just keep that momentum rolling and keep jumping into bigger and bigger jobs. Next thing you know, you're ready to pull engines. It's really not that hard. It's just a bunch of nuts and bolts and having the right tools. Nice mustache. Don't let it reach the lip. I got it trimmed up pretty good right now. Could go a little bit higher. It never really touches down here, but I try to keep it trimmed up. Army. I get shit for having a modified all-wheel drive N54. Military police. That's all good, dude. You get a hall pass, right? As long as you get pulled over by the right people. But Matthew, thank you for your service. Really, really appreciate that. You didn't finish your opinions on the M50, M52. I think the M52 is solid. Haven't worked on one in a while, but everything I've seen as far as reliability on the M54s, the M52s have proven to be even more reliable. So other than that, they're really bulletproof, solid cars. I don't remember any common issues off the top of my head. Sorry for not finishing that thought, though. Knobnard. My wife hates my E46 330i. I drive it into the corners too much and throw her around. Oh, that's too funny. What is she driving, though? How's your dog, Sage? She's doing good. She's got some skin issues right now. She got fleas a couple weeks ago. I got that all knocked out. Got the house all clean. She's on medications, but she's doing okay. I got to take her into the vet tomorrow. She's got a limp in one of her front legs, and she's having an allergic reaction right now, so her skin's a little messed up. Dogs can get allergies to the saliva of fleas when they get bit. So right now she's got all these raised bumps on her. No more fleas, but I had to wash her pretty frequently, and I think that really dried her out and just aggravated her skin. So giving her some Benadryl, gonna take her into the vet tomorrow. Can't wait for the E90 cleaning video. Invest in crypto. I used to invest in crypto, and then I had to sell my crypto in order to pay the bills. So right now we're not paying the bills with crypto. When I have extra money one day, I'll reinvest. I invested in Tezos and Ethereum and Bitcoin, but sold it. I splurged on oil for my 335i and got liquid moly, and boy, is that leaps and bounds more fancy than the Costco oil I was putting in. Liquid moly is great oil. I buy it from FCP Euro, and they have great deals on it. Oil filter, all that stuff. Borax works great. John, you're a legend. John says, reminder to any non-subscribers, gently caressing that subscribe button works just as well as smashing it. So just gently caress it, guys. It helps so much. Last live, we got like 50 subscribers off of it, and it was huge. Rob says, borax works great in the house for fleas, dries out the eggs, and is kid and pet safe. That's a great idea. I did diatomaceous earth. I read that online, and then I just spreaded it around like the baseboard seams there on the sides of the carpet. I've been vacuuming like every day and just trying to go crazy with the cleaning and staying on top of it. But so far, so good. Haven't seen any on her in like the last week. She just has like a delayed reaction, which is really funky. Tron says, my wife drives a Tesla Model 3. She doesn't like it when I drive that one either. Things takes off like a rocket ship. Yeah, I bet. They're torque monsters. Stewfly says, how do I get the ECU to match the VIN number? So any ECU being replaced needs to be coded and programmed. So Hall Pass was real a couple days ago. Matthew, thanks again for your service though, dude. Really, really appreciate that. Our service members don't get enough recognition, but they do on my channel, so thanks. Just put new twins in my my 07 E92. Your video was a big help. Thanks. Appreciate that. I'm glad it was helpful. Have you tried doing TikTok lives? I used to do TikTok a little bit more. I've never been like the most bullish on the platform. It used to be crazy. It used to be like the Wild West for content creation. You know, you could get viral and build a following so fast. I went on it the other night and was scrolling around for an hour or two and got sucked in. It's just crazy seeing the content go around it. But I just saw something today, like TikTok. I got an email and it said TikTok is still good in the US. You just can't do live streams and like some functions have been messed up. You can use borax and sugar solution around the house for ants. Just don't get it on any pine trees you like. Does the sugar attract the ants and then the borax dries them out? Because that's a good idea. All right, I finally got to the bottom of the comment list, guys. I got a couple more minutes here and then I got to go barbecue up some burgers for dinner. We're going to do beef, ground beef, some sriracha mayo, maybe some grilled onions. Got these pickled, sliced, tamed jalapeno peppers, pickled jalapeno slices. Those are so good on top of a burger. But it's dark outside. I gotta go barbecue. Thoughts on the E60 M5? Dream car, but heard they're horrible. E60 M5, S85, V10. They sound crazy. The biggest problem on those cars, premature rod bearing failure. S65s, S85s, and 55s. Every time I would do an oil service on an S85, I'd cut the oil filter open, look for particulate from the rod bearings. If I did find anything, I'd let the customer know right away. We send an oil sample out for Blackstone, drop the oil pan, get access to the rod bearings, replace them. That's the biggest thing. Rod bearings can go out, and if you don't catch it ahead of time, you have catastrophic engine failure. So from what I remember, I think that's like the biggest problem child of the S85. Other than that, maybe we can get one for the channel one day. Super says, Tamil, check your MAF sensor. I did everything on mine, finally checks the MAF sensor. Maybe you're referring to the comment above that was talking about misfires jumping around. Possible. I still think maybe there's probably a vacuum leak. Because if you have fuel trim issues, it's a good idea to smoke it. I think you should smoke it. Could possibly be a MAF issue too. Look at Eric's car. The video I said, what 2,900 blah, blah, blah worth of BMW repair looks like. It's like a 2-hour video I did on his car. I chased down vacuum leaks for days on that thing. Literally spent like over a week trying to find the vacuum leak. Put a new mass airflow sensor in it. Gone. Mass airflow sensor was saying, 2 lean bank 1 and 2. Threw a new MAF in it. But if you ever replace a MAF, do not buy aftermarket. Only buy OE. Only put factory mass airflow sensors in there. Don't do eBay. Don't do O'Reilly. Don't do aftermarket. You're just going to have to buy another one. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the live stream. Keep up the great work. Thanks, Jonathan. Appreciate that. Matthew says, thanks for your support, but honestly, it's embarrassing to admit I'm in the military. There's nothing embarrassing about that. My girlfriend's in the Coast Guard. You know, I worked in the fire service. You work in the military. It's an honorable profession. So thanks for doing what you do. Tron, 10 degrees Fahrenheit here. Oh my God. Not going to stand outside and grill. Not when it's this cold. It's only about 50 degrees here, but it was still a little colder. I didn't even want to go in the garage for the live today. I did super. Pretty much tried everything except change O2 sensors and fuel injector. Are we talking about the same car? Is this the one with misfires and fuel trim? Someone let me know because I'm curious. Rob says, had someone offer me S85 for free if I promised to put it in my 330 Ci. I can't imagine what that would cost to pull off. My brain hurts just even thinking about what it would take to fit it and get it to work and mate it with a transmission. Just the electrical thoughts on that. Oh my Lord. They are really cool engines though. And with an exhaust on it, they sound great. Oof, I'm gonna put food away. Take care. Good to see you, Matthew. Thanks for tuning in. Bugatti, thoughts on the S62 from the E39 M5? Probably the best sounding BMW engine of all time. And the E39 M5 is my dream car. I would love to have an E39 M5 with a resonator delete. I used to work on quite a few of them. And I used to drive my my old boss's E39 around, and Yeah, they're probably my favorite BMW ever made, my dream car. Are you in Oregon? Getting Pacific Northwest vibes from your whole channel. I am in the very north end of California, just below the Oregon border, Dutch Master, so pretty damn close. Brookings, Oregon is about hour and 45 minutes north of me. I'm in Humboldt County. 93 Caddy, what's up, dude? Always good to see you. Hey, Alec, love your channel, bro. Would you ever venture outside of BMW, like work on Audi or Mercedes? I would if the car came around, you know. It's not something I'm as familiar with, so it's nice to be able to share knowledge on cars that I actually know a little bit more about. But I think this channel might change as time goes on. I might like to do more home improvement DIY projects once I have the funds to do so. But for now, we'll probably just stick with BMWs for a little while, allow people to naturally find my content, and then we'll mix it up, you know. I also kind of want to start doing some golf content, maybe do a little bit more fishing content, whether that needs to be on a separate channel, whether people will tune in on this one. I'll put some feelers out in the future, see if you guys like it. Rob is right. P0171, 174, 2 lean on bank 1 and 2, likely vacuum leaks. I would smoke it, start there. Because like I said, if you got a torn, you know, intake boot, it's going to cause misfires, cause all kinds of issues. And these cars are notorious for vacuum leaks. That's why I do so much work with Autoline Pro on their smoke machines. So I would definitely smoke it. If you need recommendations, I would say go with Autoline Pro. They have an economy smoke machine that's as cheap as like $50 right now on Amazon or their website. So you can smoke it for really cheap. It's also a great tool to have. You can use it to check for evap leaks in the fuel tank and check for exhaust leaks. Especially being that you say your live data in the MAF seems good. Northwoods Jack fleas, all you positively need to know. My next door neighbor is a vet. Please, I am 70 and know from experience. You got any knowledge you want to share? Yeah. If they're 171, 174, I don't know what a P0340 is, but 171 and 174 is good enough for me to smoke it. That's the first thing I would do. As soon as I see lean codes, smoke it. Even if I see a MAF code, smoke it. Had those 2 codes for being lean and smoked it, found the leak, fixed the leaks, and the codes went away. There you go, Stu Fly. Literally, that's why I help Autoline Pro promote their smoke machines, because I'm so familiar with them from working on BMWs. You do believe my mass airflow sensor and O2 sensors are stock? You're the reason I bought my first E46, kept it for a few years and sold it, saved my money for my Alfa Romeo. So thank you for helping with my tutorials on fixing my E46. Awesome. Thanks. Is it Tristan? Yeah, I think it's Tristan because you got the IAN, kind of like Christian. My car was in Malibu, California, and a lot of my parts were original. Dang. What was my very first car? My very first car was a 2000 Jeep Cherokee, and it was gray, 2-wheel drive with the 4-liter straight 6, but I put a 4.5-inch lift on it, fit 32-inch tires. I swapped the rear end with a Ford 8.8 with a limited slip, did a rear disc brake conversion, built aftermarket front and rear bumpers with a tire swing, roof rack. That was the car I pretty much learned everything on. And I replaced the engine with a Jasper's long block. That was a lot of fun. I really love those Jeeps. I'd like to get another one just to turn into like a little hunting Jeep, ripping around the beach around here. F30 335i X Drive 119K. Adaptive front struts clunk when it's cold outside only. Should I replace them? Might be the mounts clunking, but they're expensive. I don't know enough about the adaptive front struts. Front strut mounts, or the strut mounts themselves, can click and clunk, but it's hard to say when does it clunk. Connor, 222K. It's good mileage, dude. These cars will go to 300K if you really need to. And Connor, I'm gonna try to remind myself later tonight. I'll try to catch your email and get back to you. Let me see if I can find it real quick, even while I'm kicking it. I'm gonna be signing off here in just a few minutes, guys. I gotta go get dinner cracking. My girlfriend's got some family in town. I'm gonna make some burgers for them too. Clunks any imperfections in the wheel when below 50, 20 right now, and they're loud. Doesn't sound like, I mean, first I'd get up underneath and just get around with a pry bar. Check your control arms. Check those, what are they called? The tension struts in the front. You know, those weird wishbone looking ones. Check those. See if the bushings are worn, because that can cause clunks all the time. Or just watch the video that I put out yesterday on replacing those front control arms, because I talk about the clunk and I talk about those bushings failing and sort of what they look like and what they sound like. So I check there, and if those are solid, then I would move our way to the struts. So I have a question. There's black coming from my exhaust. It's like burning oil. What I did to do. All right, so they were, okay, then, it could be struts. I don't know that much about the additives, but it sounds like it could totally be struts. Struts can cause that type of clunk too. Unlike my E90, my strut mounts are completely torn through. Danger Boy, go eat. Thanks for the stream. Appreciate that. I'll get out of here in just a few minutes. Just want to make sure I don't leave any unanswered questions for you guys. You guys are the reasons why I'm doing this, you guys gave me the ability to create content full time, so I owe it all to you guys. Darwin, if you think it's burning oil, like I said before, let it really idle and get hot, let it sit for 5 minutes, and then slap your throttle down and rip the RPMs up real quick, and look out back for burning smoke. That's what I like to do. Just check for worn valve guide seals on like N62s, N63s. Start there and see if it actually is burning oil. Sometimes moisture in the exhaust can just collect on all that soot, and you can have some black residue in the tailpipes. It shouldn't have an oily substance though. Hey, maybe Chad Riddle can tie in with you, George, because I think he's in Tennessee too. But someone take my 2004 E46 off my hands. See? Tie in with Rob. Tie in with Rob. John, thanks so much for having an evening live stream here and hanging with all of us, sharing this piece of yourself. John, you rock, dude. Thanks for holding down the Discord while I've been busy. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the donation towards Sage. Rob, thanks for the donation too. Sarhan, I think you're gone, but thanks for the donation too, man. BMAC is doing a complete cooling system refresh on E91 DIY friendly. It totally is. I talk about it in one of my E90 videos. There's one where I'm holding a radiator and I do a radiator replacement, as well as upper and lower hoses. I think I did the Mickey Mouse hose on that one. Check out the playlist. There should be some good cooling system repair videos in there for you guys. I got a boogie, told myself I'd be off at 5:30. Went a couple minutes past, but I'm gonna go cook up some burgers, guys. George, tie in with Rob. Like he said, his email is in his profile. Gonna get cracking on a video tomorrow. I'm gonna do the editing on it, so I should have it out in just a couple days. Then after that, we're doing complete suspension overhaul on my E90 N54, and then we're doing a full serpentine belt refresh on the E46. Rob, thanks for your support. Tron, thanks for tuning in. Fatal, wish I could get to your question, but I gotta tune out. Love you guys. Have a great week. Enjoy your Sunday evening. Have a great work week. See you on my next day off. Peace out, folks.